Welcome to episode 2A of Comic Timing, a comics podcast devoted to what's behind the world of comics for the average comic book fan. Join in as Toby Cook, David Price, and myself, Ian Levinstein, discuss whatever comes to mind, time after time, here on Comic Timing. This episode, we give our take on the new Superman Returns trailer, Marvel's exclusive deal with Ron Garney, the Skrull Kill Crew coming to TV, JLU's impending doom, and we give our wrap-up of Free Comic Book Day. Here now, the host of our show, Toby Cook.
All right, folks, welcome to episode 2 of Comic Timing. As always, I am joined by my partner in crime, Ian Levinstein, as well as Mr. David Price, the man of 1,000 podcasts. How's it going, guys?
Not too bad. How about you guys?
Oh, yeah.
Doing pretty good.
Nice
doing pretty good.
Weekend.
Everybody having a good weekend so far? Yep, same here. Same here. How about you, David?
It was productive. I was busy. A lot of things going on around the house, so.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But hey, you can always make time for comics, right?
That's right.
All right. So, trying a little bit of different format this week. We're going to split things up into 2 parts. The first part's going to be the news and reviews section, and the second part will be our main topic, which means there will be 2 episodes for you folks this week rather than the actual one. We're going to keep the episodes to about a 45-minute length or so, depending on content. So, yeah. Hey, and now since we're listed on iTunes and Podcast Alley, you can go to Podcast Alley, do a search for Comic Timing, and you can vote for us there. And as always, you can go to our website at www.speakgeekspeak.com/comic timing. We'll have show notes up there, and feel free to comment if you have anything.
And also, newly upgraded forums. Just gotta say that.
Say about the show. Yes, newly upgraded forum. So we just upgraded to the latest version of PHPBB, and they're looking pretty good. Got a couple of different themes up there you can choose from. So feel free to give it a look. So let's go ahead and move on to the news. First order of this is the Superman Returns trailer. Warner Brothers released the second Superman Returns trailer just in time to capitalize on everything.
I thought it was amazing, honestly. I was looking for something to give me a hook to make it feel as if it was, the old-fashioned Superman, and that's exactly what I got, because I have discovered Kevin Spacey is Lex Luthor. For me right now, they could not have picked a better person to play Lex Luthor, and it was incredibly apparent in that trailer. I want to see it even more now.
All right, so David, what did you think of the trailer?
I liked. There were 2 parts about it that I really liked. I liked Kevin Spacey yelling at Lois Lane, or Lex Luthor yelling at Lois Lane, and I really got a kick out of the music, hearing the John Williams score. That brought a smile to my face. That I kind of got more amped after hearing the music. Once I heard that come on, then I was excited. But just seeing the scenes that they put together to make this trailer, this tease, I'm not quite there yet.
I'm gonna have to agree with you on a lot of that. My main problem is I wasn't sold from day one. I mean, the only reason I was even interested was because of Kevin Spacey. And that's the only reason I'm going to even bother going to see this movie in the theater. It's just, Brandon Routh, there's not enough, he doesn't have enough presence to sell me.
I think he plays a very, very good, well, at least from what I've seen of it, he plays a decent Clark Kent. He still needs to sell me on Superman.
Right. But you've got to be able to do both. If you're going to play the role, Christopher Reeve could do it. I mean, bar none. He's by far the best. I like George Reeves as well. He was a great Superman, perfect Clark Kent. He was able to switch between the 2. But Brandon Routh, I'm not sold. It's just, I don't know. He doesn't have the presence. Kate Bosworth as Lois Lane, she's got the attitude. I'll give her that. But I got to see more. I got to see more before I can really make a decision on her. The kid they had for Jimmy, that's definitely
Perry White needs to be
definitely
angrier.
One that I'm okay with. Christopher Lee as Perry White, not a bad choice. He's somebody I could see in the role, but I need to see more. But Kevin Spacey by far, just the little teases that they showed, he's got it down. He knows how to get the point across. And I'm sorry, but what was with the quick cuts during action with Superman? I mean, when they're in the fortress and he lands, it's a little too quick of a landing. It's just all of a sudden it's like bam. It was just
at
all
the speed of light he lands.
Bam.
Yeah.
Okay, that looked really bad. Yeah, but he should have gone through the ground with that landing. And he's fine.
Yeah.
Just the way he had his arms out, no, it's wrong. But the John Williams music, when he's flying and you hear the music, that clinched it for me. I've got to see the movie.
Well, you know what? I also need to hear a bit of a
Kevin
different
Spacey
score. I mean, it's understandable. I love the old music. Don't get me wrong, but there needs to be at least something new to the music. I don't want to just hear a rehash of Superman.
I'm sure there will be, because I think that although the composer, I think, is picking up from like either Williams' point of view or his perspective or that music, but there will be, from what I guess, will be some newer music. Otherwise, I mean, how are you going to get people to go out and buy the soundtrack if it's just a rehash of the 1979 movie?
Right. Well, not only that, but realize that they've got they actually are using bits of Marlon Brando dialogue.
Yes.
That
Now,
were
is
cut
this
out
dialogue that's going to be put back in
the
that
first two
Superman 2
movies.
re-release they're doing? That's supposed to be the quote-unquote Donner cut?
The international cut?
The Donner cut, yeah. I've seen the international cut, which adds in the stuff that was in the TV version that wasn't in the theaters. But apparently, when they release the DVD for this in November, there's going to be re-release cuts of all 4 movies. I think they should just stick with 1 and 2, personally, but I wouldn't mind seeing a
nice.
better cut of Superman 3. Maybe it'd actually make it
especially
watchable
Superman 4, too. Oh, God.
No, that's...
I'm sorry. Nothing's going to make that watchable. So,
No.
Plus, we got the Superboy TV series coming out.
That actually, what interests me most about the whole Superboy TV series is the fact that it was basically taken off the air because they didn't want it to have anything to do with Lois and Clark. And basically, if not for that, it could have gone on for another couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows? Smallville might have never happened. It could have just been Superboy.
Well, originally it was John. It was originally Gerard Christopher played Superboy.
Mm-hmm.
And then they brought in John James Newton for I think during this season. So, but it was produced by the Salkinds. So, they did a good job. And Stacey Hyde got her start there, playing Lana Lang. And I don't remember who had.
All I know is that Superman has way too many girlfriends with the initials LL.
It was.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wow,
and one main bad guy.
That's just. I love the alliteration, but is he just going to find every single person in the world whose initials are LL and just have some sort of relationship with them?
Yes.
All right, so let's go ahead and move on to our next bit of business. Ron Garney signed an exclusive contract with Marvel, which takes effect with Amazing Spider-Man 532, the first official Civil War tie-in. The last 3 issues were part of the Road to Civil War, but this puts Spidey right in the middle of the battle. So, I don't know. I'm okay with that, because Garney's DC work for me, I wasn't sold. He did the Kurt Busiek arc, the Crime Syndicate
JLA,
arc on JLA.
He drew a better Crime Syndicate than the JLA
itself.
itself.
I know, which was really odd, because they weren't really supposed to be the focus of the story. But what was interesting about that arc was it picked up after JLA Avengers.
Yep.
I loved that they actually, put that
whole
in
time with
continuity, as opposed to it just being an outside continuity tale that only would be remembered in the annals of actual, of fans, to actually put it into the DC universe and, make people remember it. That was pretty cool.
Well, I don't know if they'll remember it now, but hey. I think that this whole DC selective memory thing is doesn't make me very happy. But okay, so what are you guys' thoughts on that, David?
I'm all for Ron Garney getting regular work. I really liked his Cap run with Mark Waid.
The first one, not so much the second for me.
Okay.
I didn't think his second run was as strong. I think
if they didn't go and interrupt it with Heroes Reborn, that might have helped things a little bit. But I can always tell when it's his artwork, even if it isn't up to snuff like in that JLA arc or the Chuck Austin arc before that. But it also depends on the inker embellishing his work. I think he works well with Dan Green, who I don't know if Dan Green also worked with him on the JLA arc or if Garney was inking himself. But no, I'm a fan of Garney. I like his artwork, and if this bodes well for him, then I'm all for it.
What about you, Ian?
He's hit or miss for me. I mean, there's one arc he does that I enjoy a lot, and the next one comes out and it's kind of flat. What I'd like to see is consistent artwork from Ron Garney, because as I mentioned on last episode, I think for me the strongest individual issue of Ron Garney's work that I've seen in the past couple of years was that one story he did in Spider-Man Unlimited. I'd like to see more art that looks like that, especially when he's on Spider-Man. I'm not sure whether it's the inkers or the colorists or what, but I'd like to see Ron Garney's art just be as consistent as possible and put out a decent product every single issue.
Now, since I'm not getting, I haven't been reading Spidey. I've only have a few of the early trades from the JMS opening arc, but has Garney done any issues of Spidey leading up to this exclusive?
2 issues, and then they took him off for the Top Cow guy that they brought in as part of that Top Cow exclusive. And honestly, that's the whole reason why I'm not picking up Amazing Spider-Man anymore, because I saw that art and it was so stiff I just couldn't stand it anymore. But Garney will be back on the book as of that Civil War issue. So he's been gone for about 2 issues, and now he's coming on back.
So does Garney do a good Spidey? Does he do a good Peter and supporting cast?
I mean, he's the type of artist that, I don't know whether it's just how long he takes to draw it or the people involved behind the art, but every single issue looks very, very different. And I want to see consistency.
I think what David said about him being paired with a good inker, somebody like Dan Green, who inked his stuff before, I think he inked his Catman as well. I don't remember for sure. That was great inking. I mean, when he's got a strong inker and a good colorist, that's all that it's going to take. But his artwork is kind of rough, when he's got somebody that doesn't really know how to deal with his pencils.
Well, I mean, hopefully Marvel does have plenty of great inkers and colorists inside their house. I mean, here's hoping that they get the right guy to work with him now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, maybe they'll put more Hollowell on the book.
Yes.
Then we know that at least the colors would be good.
Yes.
The colors would be good. All right, so moving on to the next order of business. JLU, Justice League Unlimited, airing their final episode next week. They aired a live this week, which is first part of a 2-part finale. Deals with the society and all that fun stuff, and has some really interesting interplay between Luthor and Grodd. The thing that really bugs me about the way that this has been handled is that I know that the reason they're canceling it is because they want to move on to different projects and kind of get away from the whole Dini-verse, as I like to call it. The animated, the Dini animated style. That's been their cash cow for more than 10 years. I mean, if you look as far back as Batman the Animated Series, New Batman Adventures, Superman, and Justice League, I mean, and even Batman Beyond. I mean, they've always gotten consistently good ratings. Why not let the show go for another year?
Well, there's plenty of stories still left to tell. Had they moved JLU to Adult Swim, okay? And I was just talking about this with a friend of mine, like a little earlier today. Had they moved it to Adult Swim, it would be going into a new season right now, because I feel it's such an adult show. And where it is right now, it's got a great time slot, but a lot of the people who would be watching it aren't watching Cartoon Network at that time. So I feel the ratings would have been even better, and the stories would have been even better had they just decided to switch it over to Adult Swim, get a more adult audience, and things would have been great.
I could go along with that. I'd probably see it more often because I was able to access the first 2 seasons, and I saw most of the first, and I still have to watch the second, and I'll probably end up getting the DVDs. And I do like everything that I've seen, and I especially like finding heroes that I haven't seen in a DC comic in years, like Vigilante or Nemesis or things like that. But moving it to Adult Swim, I think would have been nice. But I don't know if. I don't know. Maybe Dini might have had issues with his work being perceived as, something, grouping it with those other cartoons
Minority
that obtain, college humor or things like that.
Oh, yeah.
There you go. With that great Jack Kirby artwork.
I haven't watched that yet. And I don't know.
I haven't either. I just know from the commercials what it looks like.
Yeah, you are right about it. It wouldn't have exactly been a perfect pairing for JLU.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Especially if they sandwich it between that and like Boondocks or something like that. I mean, you're really your demographic is really all over the place at that point.
Well, I mean, the problem that at least that's played this season most of all is just the way the Cartoon Network is scheduled. I mean, we went a couple of months without a new episode. Right? I mean, they dropped it right in the middle of the season, and all of a sudden they decided to pick it up and go for it again. Same here. I mean, but the only reason I'm recording on my TiVo now is because they're the widescreen episodes.
Yeah.
That's the only reason I really wanted to watch them.
So. I mean, if they have something that's done, they'll hold it off thinking that, they'll get more of an audience. Well, 3/4 of the time, I had completely forgotten that they hadn't even showed the last couple of episodes until I heard, oh, wow, it's airing next week? That's amazing. I mean, they're going to lose so many more people that way.
Yeah, that's the first part about, especially when you're dealing with a network like Cartoon Network. When it comes to animated shows and scheduling, I mean, because they just have so much content, they need to make sure that they give new shows ample time to, catch on to a new audience. I mean, shows like JLU that are established, that have been running for a couple of years, they're always going to find an audience, no matter where they put them on. But you need to let the shows that are there play out. If you're gonna cancel a show, at least air the last episodes in order, uninterrupted, and give the fans, one last hurrah.
Mm-hmm.
Don't screw around with the schedule and leave gaps of like 2 months between episodes so the fans forget the show's even on your network anymore. I mean, that really kills any momentum the show could have, and whatever ratings it's got are pretty much gone at that point.
To me, there's also like an air of arrogance, like, if they want to see it bad enough, they'll find it. Well, they have to abide by us putting it out there.
Find it first.
Well, yeah.
But this isn't the first time
if you like it that much, you'll make sure you go out and get it.
They do this so often with pretty much every one of their properties. I mean, they'll get a certain amount of new episodes, and then they'll hold off, thinking, well, if we have the entire bunch, all wrapped up and ready to go, we can hold it off as long as they want, and they're just going to keep coming back for more, which is not the way to look at it. And we're going to have to get Toby back because he just accidentally hung up here. Well, Toby is still signed on, so hopefully he will actually. All right. Well, he'll get in contact with me. We'll figure it out, but we'll actually get things rolling here any second now, hopefully. But anyway, how often did you watch JLU? I mean,
I never watched it while it was on. If it was on the station, if it was a Saturday afternoon or what have you, or Saturday evening, I never watched it while it was on Cartoon Network. I've seen some episodes online, and I try to make time to get to it, but I was never.
Now, was it because of the scheduling, or was it just because of?
Partly because of the scheduling. I mean, if it was on, I think they. Actually, no, that's not true. I might have seen part of an episode, early Saturday afternoon. They might have had it on after Teen Titans. But it was my weekends. My weekends are kind of already filled with other things I need to do. That to me, to fit a half hour into a cartoon that I'd really like to see, it's not happening.
Yeah, that's the tough part about scheduling anything like that. I mean, I wouldn't be so upset with Cartoon Network with the way they handled the show if it hadn't been for the fact that they just kept doing it. I mean, that was actually the complaint about the last couple seasons with JLU. It's just their scheduling was just so haphazard. It didn't really make any sense. I mean, they'd schedule episodes in a row, and then all of a sudden they'd stop it, and then pick it up again, and it's like, that's not.
They would roll a dice, basically. Like roll a dice and say, okay, we'll show this in March.
Yeah, basically, they tried to fit it in wherever they had room, and unfortunately, they kept doing that. And it's well, you already have it on the schedule. Leave it there and don't mess with it. Keep it there. So. All right, so let's move on to the last business, and this one's going to be kind of a fun one. Marvel announced during their quarterly earnings report that they have signed a deal with Spike TV to develop a live-action series based off of a Grant Morrison, Mark Miller, and Steve Yao creation known as Skrull Kill Crew.
Yes, exactly. Because Crew with a K is just so much.
Yes, Crew with a K. Crew with a K.
Oh, yeah.
Well, yeah, of course, always. So, my thought on this, I'll watch it, because, I'm sorry, there's nothing funnier than a bunch of skulls being turned into cows. There's just nothing funnier. For anybody who hasn't read this series, just to kind of give you an idea, basically, the Skrull Kill Crew were a bunch of Skrulls, I guess, that were stranded on Earth after
during the Kree-Skrull War.
Oh, right, during the Kree-Skrull War. I was thinking of the other big storyline that Marvel had that were a bunch of aliens were stranded on Earth, but I think this predates that by a couple years. But basically, they turned themselves into a bunch of bikers or something. My memory on the series is kind of hazy. I have
a description
I haven't read
of the
it
series
in a while,
here over at marvunap.com. So if you want me to refresh your memories, I can do so. All right. Okay. Well.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
definitely.
Definitely.
We'll have a link for that if you want to look at it.
Basically, what they say here is that after the Fantastic Four's first encounter with and defeated the Skrulls, Reed Richards hypnotized the four invaders to turn them into cows, as we mentioned, and to believe them that they really were cows. He left them in a field in King's Crossing, Vermont. Then in Avengers Volume 1, numbers 89 through 97, the Kree-Skrull War happened, and the Skrulls regained their memory and impersonated some of the original Avengers in an effort to force them to disband. Another of the Skrulls took the form of H. Warren Craddock, who was running for office. The Craddock Skrull was slain after being exposed. And then in the Skrull Kill Crew number 2, the remaining 3 former cow Skrulls were handed over to the Alien Activities Commission, who forced them to become cows again. This time, however, they sent the Skrulls to the slaughterhouse, along with the rest of the beef. The Skrulls were slaughtered and mixed with other real beef meat and distributed across the country in the form of hamburgers. The Skrulls' meat was consumed by an unknown member of Americans. Some of the people who ate the beef proved immune to the Skrull DNA. Some died horrible deaths. A small number were infected and developed metamorphic powers along with progressive and terminal neurologic disease. Yes,
you gotta love Grant Morrison.
And you say this is a Morrison Miller creation, huh?
With names like Catwalk, Dice, Moonstomp, Riot, and Rider, how could you not love this?
Yeah, and for anybody who's wondering, I just did a search on Amazon. If you do a search for Skrull Kill Crew, they do have the trade paperback there. It's listed at $16.99. Actually, $11.04. But if you do a search for Skrull Kill Crew, we can put that in the show notes as well. Hey. So yeah, we got a couple of months. Good timing for Marvel.
And you can find the original printing on eBay. There's one listing for it, and there's a couple other listings here and there.
It's just interesting. And this is on Spike, right?
Yeah, this is Spike.
So you think they might be doing some 2-hour block with this and Blade?
That actually wouldn't be. That actually wouldn't be a bad idea.
About it, I mean. Blade is more for the the older Marvel fan in the first place, and Skrull Kill Crew, obviously. I mean, come on. Did you really think a lot of kids are going to be tuning in to see guys who ate Skrull beef and transformed into superheroes because of that? I mean, this is for the basically the major Marvel fan here.
And this was part of Marvel's sadly aborted Marvel Edge line. Basically, for some reason, the only thing that comes to mind whenever I think of this series is Mad Cow.
Guess what? Denny Crane has Skrull superpowers, then, obviously, because he has a Mad Cow.
Yeah, it just Morrison and Miller just.
Well, they actually called
there's also a link on Wikipedia.
Scrollarovia-induced scrollaphobia.
Yeah, right.
Try saying that 10 times.
You gotta love it.
Well, it's interesting because the only current scroll other than the Super Scroll that's being used is Hulkling from Avengers. He's a Kree Skrull hybrid. That's kind of interesting.
I wonder whatever happened to Elijah.
I wonder if he's
from Fantastic Four.
Elijah.
Yeah, she just disappeared off the face of the earth after.
That's a good question. I think they wrecked her out. All right, so now that we've got the news bits finished up, and I'll still never get over that idea. Still cracks me up. Why don't we go ahead and move on to our reviews? Now, Ian and I did happen to get some books from Free Comic Book Day. And David, you said you had some stuff that you were interested in reviewing as well?
Well, I figured I'd ask you guys, since I did not get to go to Free Comic Book Day, I figured I would ask. Well, first of all, what did you guys leave with? And I have a couple other follow-up questions to that.
Okay, well, I went to Xanadu Comics here in Seattle, which is just a short walk from my apartment, and I picked up Bongo Comics Free for All and Walt Disney's Donald Duck. Similar for the fact that they were limited to a person, so they had limited stock, and I didn't really see anything else that grabbed me. And I've been a Simpsons fan. I've been watching it since the first season, so the Bongo one would be great. So the Bongo one, oh man, the first story is called "Comic Book Guy Gets a Life." Yeah, exactly. Basically, what happens is Milhouse and his dad come in, and Milhouse's dad wants to buy him a copy of Radioactive Man number 100. Well, Radioactive Man number 100 happens to be in a box sitting on a shelf. Comic book guy goes to get the box, hits him in the head, and he loses his ability. He loses his nerdiness all of a sudden, and goes out to get back in shape. He gets himself a fiance, starts going to the opera. Oh, one of the little bits here before I finished, you guys, the basic gist of the story was he was reading a copy of Archie Disassembled, where Big Ethel kills Moose to get Jughead's attention, and he congratulates Bendis. He congratulates Bendis on a job well done.
Very nice.
So, but basically, Comic Book Guy decides that he's not happy not being a nerd, so he goes to Dr. Nick. Hi, Dr. Nick.
Hi, everybody.
And asks what can be done. Well, the only thing that can be done is a brain transplant from another nerd. Well, unfortunately, Springfield really only has one other nerd, and that nerd's name is Professor Frank. So he gets a brain cell transplant with Professor Frank.
Oh, man.
And it's just wrong in so many ways. But I'm sitting there, and it's only about an 8-page story.
It's a lot in 8 pages.
Yeah, that's a lot. They packed a lot in 8 pages. Well, okay, it's 10 pages total, but it's separated by a cheap gag, which doesn't really bother me because it's after 4 pages. So there's enough. The 2-page ad in the middle didn't really bug me. But whoever wrote and drew that really kind of captured, the whole idea of The Simpsons. I mean, just the characters. He had the mannerisms down. I mean, Comic Book Guy acted like Comic Book Guy. There's more stories in there, though. One of which is the origin of Glowy the radioactive dog.
Crypto.
It's don't. Radioactive Man buys Bug Boy a birthday present, and it's a turtle. Well, he zaps it with the radioactive ray, and it turns into a glowing dog.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, it's pretty much, it's one page. It's a one-page gag, and it's so hilarious. It's just, you guys aren't reading the Simpsons comics. I've got their Treehouse of Horror specials are fantastic. Last year they got Marv Wolfman and Gene Colan to do a Tomb of Dracula parody. Yeah, it was absolutely.
Right.
I've got that some, and it's just great stuff. But there's a 2-page bit called Backstage at Bongo Comics that looks like it's done by one of the Futurama animators, because Bender shows up in the middle of the story and throws it off track.
Oh man.
Yeah. Well, the next to the last story is features the Homer Simpson character Pie Man trying to clear his name due to an evil twin. It's just reading. It's like actually watching a Simpsons episode, only in a comic. And of course, the last story is a classic Marvel comic parody. Basically, Apu decides to show Bart and Lisa his favorite comic book, which is Nuclear Power Man and Iron Foot.
All right.
So they do a Power Man and Iron Fist parody with Lenny and the other Lenny and Carl. Lenny playing the role of Nuclear Power Man, and Carl playing the role of Nuclear Power Man, and Lenny playing the role of Iron Foot. And it's 70s parody. So Carl has the afro and the little headband, the chain belt. He doesn't have the yellow. Shirt, because obviously trademark, but it's green, close enough. You know, kind of a Hulkish.
Is there a Sweet Christmas catchphrase?
Yes, he does say "Sweet Christmas" because it's a Christmas story. It's a sweet Christmas story.
That's great.
The title of the title of the story is "Heroes for Rent or Lease to Own." It's only about 8 pages, but it's just absolutely hilarious. And they have a villain by the name of Disco Inferno, which is Disco Stew.
Nice.
Yeah. But there's and the last page has Christmas dinner with Disco Inferno, some kid that got kicked by Iron Foot that looks like Linus from the Peanuts, and the village people.
Oh, wow.
And he says, "Right you are, Merry Christmas to all, and to all a sweet Christmas." But yeah, it's just, I love the Bongo stuff. I've read some of the Simpsons comics. I haven't read them all. I have a couple. Gail Simone wrote issue 50, and I bought the Treehouse of Horror specials just because they're absolutely some of the greatest creators out there. I mean, the Marv Wolfman and Gene Colan stuff, and it's the laugh. Just even talking about that book just gets me laughing. It's just great. And then the Gemstone Donald Duck stuff reprints a bunch of couple of classic Donald Duck stories over the last couple of years. And I didn't really get a chance to really read through this because I've actually seen these stories before. But it's mostly old Don Rosa stuff for anybody who's read any old. The first story is an old Donald Duck story from 1988. That's classic, Disney comics. Great stuff for kids. I mean, this is something if you go to Free Comic Day I hope the Gemstone actually does do more of these. As far as, for Free Comic Book Day, because this is a great way, to introduce kids comics, I think. Still laughing at this one, but I'm gonna go back and read through these because I think that last one is a Uncle Scrooge story. I don't remember. No, it doesn't look like just some caveman type deal. But they've got ads in here for the DuckTales comic books.
Wow.
Yeah. Which not a lot of people know that DuckTales was actually created 50 years ago, before the cartoon.
Wow.
So I think a lot of the reprints are going to be.
Wow. I really didn't realize that it was 50 years ago. Because I originally thought it was just made for that cartoon.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought so too. But Disney, they've had Donald Duck stuff. I keep forgetting that a lot of these classic Disney stories have been around for a while. I mean, the Disney comics have been in publication back at least quite a few years.
Yep.
Maybe 50s or so, I think.
All right. Well, I'll start off with the more mainstream, and then I'll go to the independent. I picked up Future Shock, which is a look into the future of Image Comics, and it has a whole bunch of about 5 or 6 page previews of upcoming Image books, and it starts off with Fear Agent by Rick Remender and Jerome Oppina. I believe that's how you pronounce it.
Okay, wait. So instead of them giving you a preview book of things that will never see the light of day, they're just going to preview things that have already shipped?
It's quote unquote into the future, but I have a feeling that most of these books are either on the stands or about to be on the stands. So, yeah. Fear Agent, from the looks of things here, from what I get of it, there's a giant brain and there's a guy from the future, and the guy from the future kills the giant brain in the future. That's all I get out of it. It's not really too good a preview for me because it doesn't tell me anything about the book. It just basically has an action scene. And for people who haven't read Fear Agent in the past, like myself, I'm not going to know much about the book. And I think that that's something that kind of fails. But I guess maybe fans of Fear Agent will be happy to see a book before it comes out. Godland is the other one in here. That's by Joe Casey, Tom Scioli, Richard Starkings of Comicraft, and also, what I like about Godland is that it's totally Jack Kirby influenced. You could tell. The art is old-fashioned Jack Kirby style art. I like the action scenes in it. They got a character that looks a lot like Captain Adams, probably the best way you can compare this guy to. And it's one giant fight scene, but the main difference between this fight scene and the last fight scene I'm talking about is that this one actually explains in a way who the characters are, and I get more of a sense of the characters than I did in the preview previous to this. So I'm actually sort of interested in Godland. I might want to pick up an issue. Invincible is also previewed in here. That's by Robert Kirkman, Ryan Ottley, and Bill Crabtree. Another one of the issues that I guess what I can say that's good about this Invincible is that it puts a nice bit of intrigue in there because there's a reveal about a character that he's one of this alien race that apparently are really interested in Invincible, and that's sort of cool. And the design for one of the characters in this, there's this one-eyed purple guy that looks absolutely awesome. Okay, there you go. That would be Alan the Alien. Yeah, and I've flipped through this book when they had it at Xanadu, and I read the Invincible because it was only a couple of pages. The guy that you're talking about is a Viltrumite. Anybody who's read Invincible? I don't know if you have, David.
No.
But anybody who's read Invincible, Invincible is a Viltrumite. He's half human, half Viltrumite because his father was a Viltrumite, which basically it's an Kryptonian. Basically, they're the Viltrumites are a godlike race or an invulnerable or a superpowered race of conquerors from another galaxy. Blah blah blah, all that stuff. So Invincible basically is supposed to be like an heir to the
what I like about this preview here is that it almost feels as if it's like a TV preview. The sort of like trailer you'd find for like 24 or something along those lines. It doesn't give away too much, but it hooks you. And I've been hearing about Invincible for the longest time. A lot of my friends are into it, and it might actually lead me to pick up the book, which is what this free comic book day issue is all about. Try and hook you onto a title, and I think it might have done that here. Noble Causes is also previewed in here, and Noble Causes is by Jay Farber and John Bosco. And I had picked up a Noble Causes miniseries in the past that I really liked. It was sort of like it had a Fantastic Four feel to it. They're basically the main family of the Image universe, which is kind of cool. But here it's a very different art style than what I had known about Noble Causes. It's in color, which also the if I remember correctly, the miniseries that I picked up was actually black and white, and it looks kind of interesting, but maybe it's typical superhero fare. That's probably the best way to put it. Savage Dragon is in this as well, and obviously Savage Dragon is by none other than Erik Larsen. By Erik Larsen, art by Erik Larsen, inks by Erik Larsen, colors by Erik Larsen. The list goes on and on. And if there's one thing that I like about Erik Larsen's art is that it takes me back to the old days of comics. It's got a nice old-fashioned feel, but he seems to have forgotten how to draw eyes. And that actually sort of bothers me about this because I understand that he's always had a bit of that. I guess to me he's had a bit of a Japanese influence in his eyes, but I'm sure he'll tell you different. But here it's almost a bit super deformed. It's sort of like looking at a Frank Miller style eyes, which I really don't like too much. But then again, what are you going to do? The story itself did sort of intrigue me. I've never really picked up Erik Larsen's Savage Dragon in the past. But it's been around for 150 issues now, so I guess maybe it's actually worth, looking into. 127, there you go, okay. My mistake. I had forgotten whether they were celebrating 125 or 150, but okay, 125. And one of the characters in this goes through a whole Super Skrull change and has, the Thing's hand at one point. I guess that's what they can get away with, but it looks like an interesting character, so maybe I'll look into that. And also Shadowhawk is in here. And Shadowhawk would be by Jim Valentino. That interests me a lot, because Shadowhawk, the whole premise of the story that they give away here is that he accidentally lets a villain steal a car, which is cool, because he helps her, get her keys out of the car, blah, 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 blah. Translation, she's stealing the car and he didn't realize it, which is sort of fun. And the art style is very appealing, so it might be something I'll look into. And then there's Spawn, which, no. No thanks. Yeah, the less said, the better about Spawn.
The
never
less
really
said, the better?
into it too much. It's basically just dark comic books for dark comic books' sake, and that's the exact fare you're getting here with the Spawn of the show. So the Spawn story is done by Ron Mars with Adriana Milo art and Sonia Obak, and it didn't appeal me then, it didn't appeal me now. And last but not least, we got Witchblade. Excuse me, my mistake. The Witchblade was by Ron Mars, Adriana Milo, and Sonia Obak. Spawn was by David Hine and Philip Tan. Witchblade interested me enough, but I've never really been too interested in the character in the first place. But, what are you going to do? All in all, this preview title does the job of previewing the books, but some of the previews leave a bit to be desired. That's the best thing to say about that. The other thing that I picked up was an independent book that was on the silver list, so not every comic book place actually got it. It's called Mr. Gene. Excerpts from Dupuy and Barbarians Get a Life and Maybe Later, and Tove Janssen's Moomin is previewed in this. Now, what I like about this is that it's an old-fashioned comic strip style art. Not too detailed, but enough to actually tell the story. And there's a couple of stories in this, one involving a pregnant woman who feels as if her husband's drifting away. Another one about a guy who goes to his girlfriend's birthday party and feels left out and feels like dumping her, and a couple other stories here and there. It's typical comic strip style, and it's something that I really enjoy. It might be something that I want to look into in the future. The Moomin preview is great because it's a different style than the rest of the book, but in the process, it's still that old-fashioned comic strip style. And again, you don't see that enough in comic books these days. I'm going to highly recommend those of you who can still find a copy of this, pick it up, see what you like about it. I certainly enjoyed it, and I would give it a high recommendation. So that's what I did for Free Comic Book Day.
Did you guys buy anything other than
up,
just going in and grab the free books?
I was missing an issue of Green Arrow from the 1 year later, the second issue that hit the stands. So I picked that up, and I picked up Emo Boy #4, because, I don't really need to explain that. It's Emo Boy. It's fun. And a couple other things here and there that I can't remember off the top of my head. Oh, Down. I picked up Down #2. That was the other comic that I picked up, because I'd been wanting to pick that up for a while. And Warren Ellis with the
That's Cully Hamner art, right?
Yeah.
Right. Unfortunately, I didn't have any extra cash, and I'd already picked up stuff from the store this week.
That's what I figured.
I just went in and grabbed a couple of the free comics and said hi to the staff and wished them luck.
Were they having a sale or anything like that at your store? Or?
Headed out of the shop. They tend to have sales fairly regularly. I love this store dearly, but my biggest complaint is they have no back issues.
Ooh.
I'm a back issue junkie, so I tend to go to Comics Dungeon. I'm gonna start going to Comics Dungeon up in University District because they've got a huge back issue selection. And also, the Xanadu up in the U District has a pretty big back issue selection, but they're not nearly as big as some of the other shops that I've been to.
Hanley's Universe and Midtown Comics, and by the time I got to Midtown, the Midtown Comics by the Port Authority in New York, so that's their main location. And by the time I got to Midtown, they had no free comics left, so that was a wasted trip, but at the same time I got my Green Arrow there. But still, the point remains, I love Midtown, but their back issues are way too expensive, so I was basically just going there to pick up either one issue or just a free comic, because that's what Midtown Comics is for, basically. Just the issues that just came out, because if you're looking for back issues, go somewhere else.
Okay.
Usually when I'm back issue hunting, I'll go to we have a comic card convention that comes once every couple months that most of the regular retailers, or most of the regular comic shops, and a lot of smaller guys will bring their back issue selections. One of my favorite things to try and do is complete my collection of Dial-H for Hero stories, which it's kind of hard to find because a lot of those are were printed in Old Adventure Comics, and there was like a 20-ish issue run in New Adventures of Superboy back in the mid-'80s, or early 80s.
Yeah.
So trying to find those is just very difficult. So I've got most of them. In fact, I also have New Adventures of Superboy issue 50, which features Superboy, Legion of Superheroes, and the H-Style.
Oh, sweet.
And it's written and drawn by Keith Giffen, surprisingly enough.
Nice.
Yeah, and this is the pre-Crisis Legion. This is the 5 year later Legion.
That's pretty cool.
I think. Yeah, 5 year later Legion. No, it was before 5 year later. Because this was around 83, 84 that this came out. But yeah, it's just basically one of the hardest issues to find. And I've only found one guy at these shows, which I should have gone to the show today if I'd have thought about it, because there was one up there today, and they had John Layman was up there, and I think they had somebody else. They always have. My friend Lariel does these shows. She does a webcomic and tries to get publicity out for it. But yeah, I mean, it's just I probably would have stuck around Xanadu if I could have found some back, because I did have a little bit of cash. And I wanted to pick up some back issues, but they don't even have a quarter bin. I mean, I want to find a shop. I want to find a good shop with a quarter bin. I like finding stuff that I've either forgotten I've read and haven't seen in a while. There used to be a shop in the district called Comic Stand that had the best back issues. I mean, pretty much 99% of his stock was back issues. And he still carried new titles, but I could find pretty much anything I wanted there. I mean, I bought the first 8 issues of Transmetropolitan there for like $12 $20.
Wow.
Back when the book was first starting out, when the issues were still fairly hard to find. He had decent prices. He had a lot of marked down back issues where you could always find at least a couple of gems. And there's always something, and he was always good about letting you know when certain back issues came in if you were looking for them.
That's what Jim Hanley's has over Midtown for me.
I miss that shop.
When I go into Jim Hanley's, I know I can have a conversation with guys, and I can have a nice back issue hunt because they have decently priced back issues that you might not be able to find at other stores.
Yeah, and I think my biggest complaint about Xanadu, I love the staff there. I mean, I've been shopping there for years, and I'll continue to shop there just because they've always been, on the lookout for stuff I'm looking for. But I think I'm starting to think it's time for a change.
That's how I felt, actually. I mean, the store that I used to go to all the time was called Bullpen, and it was around my neighborhood. And it was a small shop, it was one of those like corner shops that you don't really find too much these days. But they'd only really have, a small little amount of back issues, and they'd have a nice stack of regular comics that they'd get in. But some of the comics that I would want to get on a regular basis, they would not get in. So I switched off from them to a bigger store that's near my college called Bulletproof, and I go there on a regular basis. But I still miss Bullpen because I had a nice rapport with the staff there, and they were really nice people. It's just that they really didn't get in what I needed, so I had to switch over.
Were there any
any
sales at your shop, Sam?
Midtown, I believe, and there was a sale at Cosmic Comics, which I should have gone to, mind you. I thought of it afterwards because I didn't end up with X-Men Runaways, and I really wanted to get that, but I realized afterwards that Cosmic still had a lot of X-Men Runaways left, so I should have went there. Cosmic had a 30% off sale. Jim Hanley's barely had a sale. Midtown Comics didn't have any sale at all. But next time around, I'm going to Hanley's for sure. Okay. I was my mistake, to Cosmic for sure, because I know that they're a decent shop that actually gets a lot of sales on a regular basis.
Seeing as Free Comic Book Day has been going on for a few years now, is it, in your opinions, is it good for the industry? Does it do what it's supposed to do as far as generating interest, acquiring new readers, things like that?
I think so, because I noticed when I was in there, I sit in the shop for a few minutes to kind of keep an eye and see what the crowd was. There were people coming in and out, and I saw some kids come in and grab a couple of one of the Donald Duck ones, and then an Archie 65th anniversary one. I saw a couple of those go out the door. So yeah, I'd say at least from my perspective that it was bringing in new readers.
Even when I first got there, it was around 6:30 or something along those lines. It was actually late in the day when I first got to Hanley's, and the place was still like really, really crowded. And usually that time of day, the crowd has died down and not many people in the store. But you could tell they were almost completely out of their selection of free comics at that point, which means that all day long people have been stopping in. Either just to get free comics or to stop in, get free comics, and get some back issues. And that's what I like to see, out of these events. I like to see people actually, taking their time to stop on in and maybe hook themselves on comics. Yeah. Now, David, I know that you and myself both knew about tomorrow's big thing that they were doing for Free Comic Book Day.
Yes, I did take advantage of tomorrow's promotion, Free Magazine Day. Now, I do have, it's not so much a review as much as it is just a declaration of how pleased I am with this magazine, but I subscribe to Back Issue, which is a wonderful look back at the 70s and 80s era of comic books, and you always end up finishing that magazine learning at least one thing that you weren't aware of when you were reading these comics, if you were reading them when they came out, or if you went back and read the comics from these days, like the story behind Spidey's black costume, or the Demon miniseries that Matt Wagner kind of wanted to write, but was kind of not able to. The Shazam Captain Marvel comic that never materialized, that would have been done by John Byrne. So you always get a nice little bit of behind the scenes information from Back Issue magazine. So since I already subscribed to that, I decided that my free magazine was going to be an issue of Alter Ego, and Alter Ego is edited by Roy Thomas of longtime writer of comics, a brief stint at being editor-in-chief of Marvel after Stan Lee stepped down. Alter Ego kind of focuses on the earlier days of comics before the time for back issue, so it kind of leads off around the 60s, but before then, anything is pretty much fair game. This particular issue 40, was released in September, and just reading the blurb kind of got me real excited about getting it, because there's a Julie Schwartz tribute, and the cover is by Gil Kane, who I adore the man's artwork. So between an interview with Gil Kane, an interview with Julia Schwartz, and a retrospective or a tribute rather to his career and his life, as well as a Russ Heath interview, and a bunch of unpublished art, really, I would have paid the $9 for this magazine. Getting it for free is
definitely. And I ended up with
quite a gift.
Excuse me. Go ahead, Toby.
Oh no! Go ahead.
I ended up with Alter Ego number 57 for the free magazine day, and it basically spotlights the golden age of Marvel, and that's always something that I've wanted to know more about. And there's a absolutely gorgeous painted cover by Jack Kirby and Pete Von Schally on the cover that just absolutely sold me on this issue. They have a complete issue-by-issue index of Timely/Atlas, which was basically, Marvel Comics before it was Marvel Comics. And all leading up to, all the stuff from Marvel Comics number 1 to the Yellow Claw number 4, all compiled by Michelle Nolan here. And they did a great job of actually getting together scarce art by Simon and Kirby, Everett, Burgos, Romita, Ayers, Heath, Shores, Sikowski. The list goes on, and just absolutely grabbed me, and I'm happy to, it would have been $9, and like you said, I would have probably definitely paid the $9 for it.
Yeah, well, I've been like David, I've been reading back issues since issue 1, so I've got every issue. I mean, it's by far the magazine I look forward to reading every time it comes out. I wish it was on a monthly schedule. The bi-monthly schedule really kills me, but. I mean, at $5.95 a shot, I guess it's worth saving up for. But yeah, I mean, I was actually just looking at a couple of my back issues of back issue, and that sounds really funny. And I've got issue number 6, which is got a great Proto-Pro interview. It's their horror or their Halloween issue. It's got some rough stuff, some unpublished Doctor Strange pages. It's got an interview with Marv Wolfman and Gene Colan about Tomb of Dracula. There's an Off My Chest by Roy Thomas. But yeah, it's just some of the stuff they've got in here. Like there's some unpublished Mike Kaluta art for something called Forbidden Tales of Dark Mansion from DC from back like in the early 70s.
Oh wow!
And there's a Carl Potts Doctor Strange.
Wow.
Yeah, nobody. I don't think there's also an unpublished, a rough Frank Brunner Doctor Strange piece as well. But yeah, it's just there's so much. There's some Paul Smith art in here, and a piece.
Oh wow!
From Bernie Wrightson, an X-Men piece from Bernie Wrightson, of all things. Yeah,
that's gotta be nice.
It's just. I've been a fan of Tomorrow's. I met the guys at last year's Emerald City Comic Con. It wasn't Michael Urie. I met one of the other guys, but they had Roy Thomas signing at their booth, and I managed to pick up a copy of the All-Star Companion, which that is by far the most comprehensive history of All-Star Comics and the Justice Society out there. Period. He's got a second volume that was supposed to be out already, but it hasn't seen print yet. But yeah, I chose Right Now Magazine #1 for my pick for their free magazine day. And I'm going to pull up the solicitation on it. I just wanted to pick something that, because I've already got all the back issue ones, so I wanted to pick up something that I didn't have. So I think, it was it's got Bendis, Quesada, Joss Whedon, Jim DeMatteis, Mark Bagley, and it's got a cover by Mark Bailey of William Shakespeare and Leonardo da Vinci. Yeah. As they collaborate on the first issue of Mona Warrior Princess. And it's edited by Danny Fingeroth, and he's a longtime Marvel editor and writer, so the pedigree there sold me.
Absolutely.
Yeah. There was one I was going to get that I should have got that was a Right Now that had a really great Kurt Busiek bit on how to break down a script, but I haven't gotten around to it yet.
Yeah, that was the hardest part, was trying to decide. I had my list whittled down to I think 3 or 4 issues of Alter Ego, and I finally I think I did Eeny Meeny Miny Mo.
Well, I think the issue that you picked, I have that issue. I bought it because of the Julie Schwartz tribute.
Oh, okay.
They had it on that issue actually came out a couple of years ago, and it was such a great tribute. That Gil Kane cover is what I'm a huge Gil Kane fan, so that's what sold me.
Good man.
I mean, yeah, he's Gil Kane, Joe Kubert, a lot of the old DC stalwarts, John Broome, guys like that.
See, and I'm sure there are a lot of people out there that just think of Gil Kane as the artist that drew Detective Gwen Stacy, but to me he's the Green Lantern artist. That's how I know him.
To me, well, Green Lantern and Sword, and don't forget Sword of the Atom.
Sword of the Atom. Yep, nice little and.
His Batman wasn't so.
That was later on in his career with the Legends of the Dark Knight mini he did with the story arc, but
Well, he also did a great. There was one mini series that he did. He did something for Bravura, the Malibu imprint.
Yes, he did.
I don't remember what that book was. So, but I just loved his art. And was always his Superman stuff was great. He did some stuff.
He draws dynamic figures in a way you see somebody flying in the air. It's like they're a ballerina.
Yeah, he always had really thick lines though, which I think was always interesting. I think that also depended on the inker though.
But he inked a lot of later on he inked a lot of his own work, which I guess could make for that thicker line. But early on, on the or even during Showcase and the early issues of Green Lantern, I don't know how often he had inkers working with him. He was good with Murphy Anderson always put his style on anybody he inked over.
Yeah,
but he was good with Murphy Anderson. There are a lot of, but I would like to see his pencils. I'd like to see how his work looked with a thinner line occasionally.
Yeah, but it's to me he actually did Showcase 22.
Yep.
Through the first appearance of Green Lantern. He also did some stuff for Marvel too. A lot of people forget that. I mean,
the Spider-Man drug issue, the Death of Gwen Stacy. He had a nice long run on Spidey. Yeah. Well, I don't know about how long, but he had a nice run with Spidey.
Yeah. Plus, he did. His stuff. Black
He did a lot of covers too, for Defenders and I think Champions.
He drew the first appearance of Iron
I'm looking. There's some great. I'm looking at
Marvel Premier
18.
Okay, that I wasn't aware of. Okay.
Yeah, he did. He did a lot of stuff.
Oh, in the Visionaries,
the Atom.
He did 2 What If issues.
The Green Lantern by far.
I would like to get inside this Visionaries because I love What If, and they have What If number 3, which is What If Avengers Never Were, and What If Gwen Stacy Lived, which is number 24. Both of which that he did the art for, and those are in general. What Ifs are my favorite, or some of my favorite stuff. So I'd love to actually pick those up.
Yeah, I've always been a fan of him. Just simply for the fact that he knew how to get people interested in the story. I mean, his art for me was always a draw, and I think it really was. I think it was his that really got me hooked. The later issues post 150, when he was doing stuff for Green Lantern. He did some Green Lantern Corps backup stories that just absolutely some of the best art ever.
May he rest in peace. Great life, and definitely great art while he was around. Yep.
Right, and it's been just over 6 years now. So, because he died end of January of 2000. So, all right. Well, why don't we go ahead and wrap up this portion of the show? Well,
I guess.
We're going to call
every week, I guess.
2A, I guess.
Sure.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah. Hey, it'll give people more reason to keep listening. You know.
There you go.
Yeah. All right. Well, Ian, David, and good last almost hour.
Yeah,
50 minutes here.
Definitely, yeah. And,
not bad.
And
we covered a lot of good stuff. Covered a lot of good stuff.
Friday, we'll have our take on what our favorite characters are, and some of the characters that we used to like that we really don't like too much anymore.
Yeah, and that was an idea that Mr. Price came up with,
Definitely.
which we think will make a great show topic. So you guys definitely want to listen to episode 2B. And also want to give a shout out to Bruce R. from Comics Cast for the format change suggestion. Great idea. And you guys should definitely go give his podcast a listen. It's probably one of the best comics-related podcasts out there. He's a great guy, and he definitely knows his stuff.
Occasionally,
look up look up Comics Cast with a K up on iTunes, and don't forget we're listed up on Podcast Alley and iTunes as well. Do a search for Comic Timing.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, that's something.
You can write a review on iTunes.
Yes, write the reviews. If you got any suggestions for the show, drop us an email at comictiming@gmail.com, and we'll be more than happy to listen to your suggestions. And if you want us to read your email on the air, please mark it okay to discuss. That way, we don't know what thoughts you guys saying it's okay. So, all right. So that'll do it for this episode. Like I said, you guys tune in on Friday, and remember, there's always time for comics.
That works.